Morning traders, it's Thursday 22nd of July 2021. Okay, so news today, we've got the ECB monetary policy statement at 12:45 p.m. UK time and the press conference at 1:30 p.m. It's 45 minutes afterwards. So expect volatility on euro pairs, okay? Even during the press conference itself, sometimes there's actually even more volatility in the press conference itself. So just be aware if you're trading the euro, okay? Maybe worth waiting for the dust to settle and the press conference is finished, etc., and then looking at the market to ascertain what direction euro is going in. Okay, so let's just have a little look at we'll have a look at the dollar index first, and we'll have a look at some euro pairs. Now, I'm not too sure whether you traders know, but the dollar index is made up of what's called a basket of currencies. I'm just going to bring up this for you. This is on Wikipedia. So the US dollar index, sometimes known as the Dixie, is an index or measure of the value of the United States dollar relative to a basket of foreign currencies. And it's basically these ones here, okay? But you can see that it's weighted, and the euro has the greatest weight in that basket of currencies, 57.6%. So what the euro does heavily affects what happens with the dollar index. Everything else, Japanese yen is the second highest, only 13.6, and then it goes down to the Swiss franc, 3.6. So what happens on the euro strongly affects the dollar index. Just note that the dollar index is coming into previous resistance, 93.3. We're forming what looks like a rising wedge pattern, which traditionally breaks the downside. So does that mean that we're going to see some euro strength potentially? We could see the dollar index, we could see even have a false break and then start to move down. We could just see it break down, from whatever happens at the ECB monetary policy statement and press conference. Be interesting to see what happens. So I'm open to different things, but I personally favor some downside on the dollar, which means strength on euro, but we will see what happens. So let's have a look at some euro pairs, because some of them are looking very, very interesting, but we still need to wait till after the press conference. So euro dollar at trendline support, okay, you would expect this to break to the upside. So euro strength, dollar weakness, that's what we would expect. Let's see if that happens. And we get a nice bullish candle breaking and closing outside of this falling wedge pattern here. Let me just take out the moving averages. We get a nice solid close outside of this structure here. That could be a sign to go long, okay? For end of day traders, a buy stop above the daily candle would be a trading idea to think about. Predicting some kind of movement like this, where we've bounced off the trend line, we've had a movement to the upside here. Look, we've had this move. Are we going to get the same thing here? Okay, so we'll have a look at the daily candle tonight to try and ascertain what the market sentiment is. So you don't necessarily need to understand the news, because you'll see how what the market thinks of the news. You'll see that reflected in the price action. Euro Aussie, that's of interest as well. Look at the Euro Aussie chart on the daily, making higher highs, higher lows, clear uptrend. We've had this daily impulse here, 1, 2, 3 days. Then, just reading price here, we had what's called an inside candle, which was an indication that the impulse had run out of steam. Then we saw this bearish engulfing candle, and now we're pulling back towards the moving averages. And an area of interest here is 159.50. You can see this is previous resistance here. But anywhere really in amongst these moving averages, it then becomes a chart of interest for continued longs. But again, what happens today could influence this. We could actually change trend. We could have a deeper pullback and then see buyers come in. This is not something to start trading today until the news conference, the press conference, and the news has been released. But it's in an uptrend. Okay, you can clearly see that the buyers are in charge of the market. We can get some deep pullback sometimes. Look at this wick. Look at this candle here with this huge wick down, breaks all these lows, and then it continues to the upside. This is what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know whether this was news related, but something like this could absolutely happen. So, suggestion is to stay out of the market until we get some, until the dust has settled, put it that way. But it's bullish at the moment, looking for it to pull back into the moving averages, and then technically looking for buyers to come in again. Euro CAD, again, looking bullish to me. I'll just show you the weekly. We've got this support here to false break, support, support, support. Okay, so we're in an area where we would expect to see buyers come into the market. And we've had what looks like here a double bottom pattern. Okay, we've tested this 1.46 or thereabouts. Here we came nearly into it here, and then we had a morning star pattern, and we've pushed to the upside. But look, we've had this big push up. Look where we've come back to. Okay, 1.48, which is an area here, look, of resistance. So we've had a clear break to the upside, come back into that resistance area, and it may become support now. Okay, so we may see longs on Euro CAD. So we've got potentially longs on Euro dollar, potentially longs on Euro Aussie, potentially longs on Euro CAD. This is really in a great area to start looking for trades, and I would suggest that on a normal day. But when we've got big news coming out, it's not the best time to start trading it. So again, technically it looks upside, but you need to wait for the news to come out. Swissy is a bit not particularly great at the moment. I am personally looking for longs on this, purely because we are at weekly support here, look, and resistance here again, support. We're at the bottom of a channel, so I like the idea of longs on Euro Swissy. And it could be, look, price has come down into this weekly support here. It's consolidating now. The sellers have died out, so we want to see some upside here. Okay, we've got a clear level here, look guys, of support, and just that tip of the wick there, resistance. So I think if we can see a daily close above this high here and above this horizontal resistance, but specifically above this candle tip of the wick here, if we can see a bullish close above there, then that would probably lead the way to further upside. And first targets are at the top of this channel here, and then we would see, do we actually break out of the channel, or do we start to stop and reverse, and we'll make another move down. I would like to see this break out of the channel to the upside, purely because we are at weekly support. So it'd be a great place for buyers to come in and really push this forward. So that, again, my technical bias on this is strength. So Euro strength on this one as well. It's a little bit it's not doing much at the moment though, is it? As you can see with price action, there's no clear movement, so waiting for that. Euro GBP, we broke out of this trend line here. That's a very rough drawing of the trend line. You could also draw it like that, but you can see lower lows, lower highs. There's a channel going on, or maybe even a falling wedge pattern, and we're actually retesting the pattern now, the top of the pattern. So with a breakout like this retest, you would expect price to then break to the upside. So another euro pair where it suggests euro strength. So how this candle closes today could be very, very important. If it's nice and bullish, then fantastic. We can potentially look for a buy setup there. Okay, if you're an end of day trader. What I like as well is the fact that we've come back into the moving averages now. Those moving averages have crossed, as you can see. Now in a bullish order, we've come back into the moving averages. We'd be looking for price to move away again. So that looks bullish as well. Euro yen. Euro yen is probably one of the only pairs that doesn't look bullish. And that is purely because yen has been so strong recently. Okay, yen has been pretty much dominating the market in regards to strength. So we're seeing a very, very nice downtrend on euro yen. Now it had come into an area of interest, which is down here, because this was support here at around about 128.50, and it came into that zone. So what's going to happen here? Are we going to see price have another move down, come back into the zone, and potentially double bottom? You know, we might see that, a second test, and then that. Or is yen going to continue to show strength? This trend will continue, and we actually do this. So, you know, this just does depend on that yen. Are we going to continue to see that yen strength? But also, what's going to happen with the euro and this ECB monetary policy statement and press conference later? If the euro gains some real strength, and euro is a lot stronger than the Japanese yen, then we're going to potentially see this change trend. So where the other euro pairs, or a lot of the euro pairs, are in areas where you could look to trade, there's a bit more to it. So a bit more waiting to see, you know, okay, what is going to happen here? Are we going to see euro strength, which is what potentially the charts are telling us? But then is that euro going to be stronger than the Japanese yen? Okay, and if it is, then we're going to see this trend change, and we're going to see an uptrend. If the yen continues to be stronger than the euro, though, then we will see this to continue to decline. And euro kiwi, well, you know, look at the chart. It's a little bit of a mess, isn't it? Whereas a lot of the other euro pairs, there is, you know, a trend going on, or they're at a particular level, or at the moving averages, you know, in a trend. This is very, very up and down. There's nothing really to see here, as you know, nothing really to, okay, well, I can see a trend, you know, if anything, it's kind of ranging, but even then it's not a fantastic range. I can see 171 here. We'll just draw that in for you as a potential top. I can see 167 here as a potential bottom. I mean, there's a few different levels, to be honest with you, but you know, longs on euro kiwi now, from where it is at the moment, I would have to see price break that resistance, potentially retest, and then look to go long from here on the retest. Otherwise, you know, we're coming from this area of resistance, potentially, well, you know, I don't really want to suggest a bias on this. There isn't one. For longs, I want to see this to happen, or maybe price comes back down into this zone, then I see a buy setup here or a change of cycle. So two places I'd like to buy from, because I can see euro strength in the charts potentially. Hasn't happened yet. Well, it has on some of the pairs. We are seeing euro strength, but that's how I'd like to buy this particular pair. Break and retest of 171, or we come into 167 and then we start to see buyers come in. So there's another pair to look at which is nothing to do with euro, and that is Kiwi CAD. Spotted it last night. This looks very interesting because we are, as you can see, let me just take the moving averages off. And we'll go on the daily. Okay, we were in this descending, falling wedge pattern. We've broken out. We've pulled back, and we've pulled back. We made a new high. We've pulled back into an area of previous support here and resistance. So we could actually see price moving to the upside on this. Now, if you look at the 4 hour, you can actually see the trend. I can draw it in actually for you. Sorry guys, and you can see an up, move down, new high, higher low, higher high, potentially forming a higher low now, potentially. Okay, and we're at support, so we may see this start to push to the upside. So have a look at this one, keep your eyes out, and you're looking for signs of buyers to come in. Now, if you want an easy trade, if you like, if you can't, you don't have the time to continue be looking at the smaller time frames, then what could you do? Well, it's really, really simple. Let me put the moving averages back on. Okay, these are the daily candles. If you are under the same view that we are likely to see another move to the upside, what can you do? Really, really simple trade. And that is to place a buy stop order above yesterday's daily candle, okay, to catch momentum if buyers come into the market. So if we see something like this, you get triggered in as soon as price breaks the high of yesterday's candle, and you can put a stop loss below it. That's a suggestion. Okay, I'm not telling you to do it, it's a suggestion. Take a look at that. But if the trend is going to continue, then that could be an idea for you. So there we go, guys. Kiwi CAD looking interesting. Euro pairs, they are all pretty much suggesting euro strength pretty much, but we've got to wait for that news to come out to see what happens, because literally the news can throw everything on its head, turn everything around. So we need to be a little bit careful. So that's it from me and the team. Have a great day's trading, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.